Right guys, welcome back to another AMA video. So on the last videos we discussed some exercises, some variations of them, how to perform them, my opinion of them, and basically just gave you a little bit of something to go away with, take home with you, and maybe apply to your own training. So today we're going to do something similar, but we're going to look a little bit more into techniques. Okay, and I don't really like to call these things techniques personally. Personally, I'm just like, there's training hard and there's not training hard. What people like to call these is intensifiers, intensifying techniques. There's many of them. You have your rest pause, you have your drop sets, you have your muscle rounds, you have supersets. There's basically a large list of ways to kind of apply a little bit more intensity to your training. The one I wanted to start with today, very, very basic and probably my most preferred method, the rest pause. The clue really is in the name, pause and rest. My rest pause is always a time thing based on an allocated amount of rest based on a number of seconds. A second thing that can be obviously played with rest pause is how many times are you going to rest and pause within a set. So let me just break this down really simple for anyone that's new to their training. We have ourselves here a flat chest press machine. Your typical approach to training will be to do a set, 8 to 12 repetitions. Hopefully by the time you get to like 8 to 10, you're like really struggling and you're like, okay, that's me done. Most people then would take a couple of minutes to recover and hit another set. Normally try to keep the weight the same and just challenge themselves. Some people are gonna say you're better off doing 3 sets because you're gonna do 3 sets, get more reps ultimately in total because you're resting longer. And there is merit to that. But at the same time, if you look at a workout as a whole, how many exercises you're going to do in total? 3 sets on everything you do could be overkill. You probably don't need to create that much damage to your muscle over the course of an entire workout. So let's say you have 7 exercises per workout and you're doing 3 sets, you're doing 21 sets. For some people that's ideal. Me personally, 7 exercises, perhaps hit a rest pause on my first heavy compound. Pick a weight that you can probably get around 8 to 10. Reach that point where you can't get the rep, take a 15 to 20 second break, really concentrating on breathing. You want to get as much oxygen in as you can. Go again, fail probably around half the amount of reps you got the first time. Repeat that cycle one more time, fail probably again even half the reps of the second round, and that is your rest pause. Another variation of a rest pause, which a lot of people have come to the terms with, is a muscle round, also known as something called a cluster set. And the reason it's called a cluster set is because it's a cluster of sets. Obviously cluster means multiple. That would be something that you base off of a number of reps rather than failure. So if I was to perform a cluster set on this exercise, how would that differ? We pick a weight that I could probably get 8 to 10 reps with, so it'd be the same weight as I would have used probably for that set, let's say. I'm gonna say to myself, here's the challenge in play. I'm gonna get 4 reps 5 times over with just a 10-second break in between each. So we go for our 4, we rest for 10, we go for 4, and we try to do that all the way to the point where we get 5 rounds of that. If you've picked your weight correctly, you will find that by the time you get to that 4th round, you're gonna be in a world of hurt, and then to get that 5th round of 4 is probably gonna be virtually impossible. That is when you have pretty much picked the correct weight. So that's the difference between a cluster set and a rest pause. A cluster set is based off a number of reps, repeated multiple times. Rest pause, in a regular fashion, I prefer on my compounds. So let's say I came in and did first exercise, chest press, I would do rest pause. If I moved on to a pec deck, then I may perform a muscle round, AKA cluster set. Our third version of a rest pause, which isn't quite a rest pause, is a drop set. So, let's say we're on this piece here. What I will say is if you get to the 1 plate and it feels too light and that you can go forever, because sometimes that does happen, the next way to intensify set, which has nothing to do with changing anything other than tempo and time under tension. The downwards portion of the movement, nice and slow. So that's the choice of techniques you have on those that mean you use 1 piece of kit. Now, another way to obviously create demand and stress on the body is